Okay, guys, are we on? Can anyone hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Hello, everyone.
Okay, good. Anya, when are we? We are starting the event now. I guess it's an yes. From, from
I can hear Czar and Honoz, cannot
Oh,
hear Enya.
okay, so guys, welcome to the C5 event on keep building. This is going to be focused around free to play and low coiners mainly. We will take questions in both the chat and on the stage if you want to. Feel free to ask questions after we're done with each chapter. I'll try to read the chat and pay attention to any questions coming there. And of course, you're welcome to answer questions on the stage if you want to. And for especially this time, we want to get the newer player with us, those who are less experienced. There's no stupid questions here, so please interact with us. The host for this event will be me, the the Viking from Norway with his perfect English Norwegian accent, Caesar from server 806 and team the Union, and Honoz, who has made some excellent keep building guides in the C5 library from server 441 and Alliance JTR. How are you, Honoz?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. I think unless there is any technical problems, I'm looking at the chat. I can't see there is any particular questions being answered as related to that topic. So I think with that, Honos, maybe you will do the introduction for the event. Talk a little about some prerequisite of the stuff we're going to talk about. The limitations you have as a low coiner or free to play player, and then we'll dive into the specific key builds for the different levels. So Honos, take it away.
Yeah. Good evening or good morning to everyone. First of all, this is a game, and let's set this ground. It's a game at the end of the day, and you are playing to have fun. Uh, it's not like there is nothing here that is right, wrong when you are building a keep. There is best practices. There is some strategies that you can make and you can take while building your keep in your journey that can actually shorten the time. I'm only now speaking about free to play players. And free to play players for me is those who are spending or not spending at all, but is not coining like more than kick four. This is like, pretty much is the same pace that you will take in this game. This game is kind of like two separate games, game for coiners and a game for us for free to play. So I've been playing for 5.5 years, maybe a little bit more. And I have seen a lot. I have built a lot of keeps. And this is how I share what I have seen so far. So let's start basically like your journey have to like classify it into like some checkpoints. The first checkpoint is when you are breaching to K35. Best practice here, or what I've seen best that people have done, is just upgrading their keep as soon as they can to K35. Then they start to work on their T14 building, and then this is when your actual game will start. Uh, hmm, I think I need to open my game and share my screen. So yep. So everybody.
Maybe let your screen sharing settle, Honoz. You're dropping out, I think, from the voice. Let's see if you're coming back again. I can't hear Honoz. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you are, Honoz. You're good. I can hear you now.
Okay. Let's see. So trying to start my game.
Well, this is exciting, Honoz. Your loading screen. What can happen after this? I wonder.
I wonder too. I think Devin had. Okay. You can see my screen, huh?
Yes.
Now, now it's up.
Obviously, I'm
Okay,
answering on
so
behalf
pretty
of
much
everyone.
your key. Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead, Honoz.
Okay. So basically, if you're key 35 now, let's take the first checkpoint. We have successfully built K35, and we have T14 building. All the T14s are ready to trade. What is that? What is here at this point? What you should do to make everything come together as soon as you can. First of all, uh, let's speak about like the different builds. What are the different builds that you can make? With a low keep level like 35, you only can take defenses. Okay? And this is the beauty of this game, which is like you can actually be a T1 and you do not concern yourself with the buffs, the crazy buffs that everybody has, and all of the differences between the keeps and everything. So you can actually choose one of four builds, or actually it's three builds, not four. Three builds, like T1 trap as calves or mounted troops, T1 trap for ground troops, or T1 calves for range troops. Each one has its own like style in playing, and each one has its own goal. But the most balanced one is the T1 calves, and we will like speak about it, how to build it like really quick, and what actually at this checkpoint when you are building a T1, what you want to do. First of all, we want to like check what is the buff sources that we will have at K35. First thing is your defense general. Let's go here. Recruit portraits and select the defense general. So you do not have like too much of an options when you have Richard, which is pretty much very good in defense. Doesn't look like it in like increasing hospital capacity like 30% in his base skill. But when you look at his stats, when you're like, completing him like 10 red stars or 5 red stars, he will actually sum up a very good increase overall to make your keep more balanced in its buffs. Did I break?
Your voice is
I was
good, Honoz.
fading, or you
Y-
still can hear me.
Your voice is good, but your screen sharing, for me at least, is a bit
Just only like
low.
because it's like it's giving me a red Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
that's our favorite.
I should be back now.
Yeah, your voice is good, but your
Yeah.
screen is a bit low quality.
So
It's hard to see.
first, yeah, it will come to you, I think now. So anyway, so it's Richard, the Lionheart. You have Queen Boudica, which is focused on calves, and you can see like the buffs it gives and the specialities it does. It's all for calves, and it's very good in the mid um, keep level from like when you're like a little bit higher than K35, when you're like from K38 to K42. Boudica comes in one of the best generals or defense generals that you can actually have. Um, you have here Zachary, if you want to go for ranged troop type of T1 trap. I think he is the best defense general for free to play players that are aiming to make T1 trap for calves. I'm sorry, for ranged troops. Um, and you have Tran for ground, and you can actually use him as your ground troop for free to play players, T1 defense, and those are pretty much like the three or the four generals that you can make. You can either use Richard for any one of them, like for any kind of T1 trap, Boudica for calves, Tran for ground, and Zachary for range. Uh, the second thing that you want to do is like, or to actually watch, is your monarch equipment. There are like actually two types of equipment here. First equipment is this one for you can get it from coining a little bit. If you are like like doing little coining, you can get some of it and you can upgrade it. And the other ones, like those ones, are actually for free. You can spend some gems, do some patrolling on the wall, or from Hydra and from like Wheel of Fortune. You can get a lot of like uh, Monarch equipment or gears, and you can upgrade them pretty fast to level 8 or 9, which is good. Those two have a very big difference when you are T1 trap or when you are like big player that has like a lot of troops and everything, because it has like those flats. Like it has a 60%, for example, ground attack up above, and it has ground attack for plus 90, which is flat. This actually is the buff for your T1. So if you're like a T1 trap for calves, you should use this Thunder Staff, because you will get 180 plus for this as buff for your T1. The third thing is your talents. You need to go ahead and make sure that you did the correct talent. I think the ones that matter the most is when you do like each subsidy can give you like plus whatever. This is one level 22, and the other one is Fatal Strike. The other one is Incity Troop HP in level 31. Um, this one in level 35. This one in level 36, and you pretty much go straight up down. Those are the things that you can actually make when you are very, very small keep. Yes, I'm actually speaking about like very, very advanced uh, skill set or modern talents, but you can actually, depending on your level, you can just choose what you unlocked. And then now is the catch. Let's see. Um, who is I am using as defense general? I'm using George Dewey. Let's speak about Dewey a little bit because I am not using Dewey because of anything that can actually benefit my T1 trap, but it actually gives some buffs to my range and my siege because I am a rally joining in my alliance. In the battlefield, I'm a rally filler, so I need some kind of like a balanced buffs, and this is because I'm a K42 now. I just took the decision to make it, and as you see, like I'm not like increasing his red stars or whatever, and I'm doing too well in defenses only because of the refining. The first thing that you want to make or to want to make sure of when you are K35, all of your refines, all of your equipment has to be flats like this. Like as you see, like mounted troop attack, the maximum you can get. Like for example, like when you see like refine here, everything is gold. Everything is as much as I could refine to. This goes everywhere, and this goes to all the three build types, like to ground or to range or to calves. This is the prerequisite to make sure that your T1 will work. If you have one line of those refines on all of your attacks or all of your equipment, no matter what the equipment is now, we will speak about what to choose in equipment for free to play because I have like a little bit of um, civilization gears here just because I'm playing for too long. But as you see, you can see like everything is for flat. Everything is for flat, the maximum I can get. Everything here is for flat. I'm choosing like calves. Everything goes for flat. And this is the starting point of you getting an efficient T1 trap. Your T1 trap will never work if you have like one or two lines on each equipment, not like fully refined to the maximum stats that you can get. This is one thing that you will have to be extremely careful about. And your account management has to be very strict. Like you are not spending, you are not cultivating, you are not spending gems, you are not cultivating anything. You are focusing on one general only, which is your defense general, and you are only refining your defense general equipment, and that's pretty much is it until you finish all of your refining. It will take a little bit of a time if you are free to play and you're like 4 month, 6 month, maybe 1 year in the game, but it will get done. And when it will get done, you will feel the difference. Like you will start to like play against big keeps like K42, K43, 44, 45 even, and you can take hits from them, solo hits, and you will survive. You'll make points. You'll never give points away, and that's pretty much is the fun of the game when you are like very small keep and you're going in SVS like server war, and you're making a lot of points. Nobody can actually catch you. Nobody can zero you, and this is the fun of the game. So now we speak about the monarch talents. We speak about the defense general, what makes the defense general actually work as a T1 by refining for flats, not for percentages. And this is pretty much is it. Like this is the first checkpoint. This is what you have to make. The number, let's speak now about the numbers of the T1s. T1s, every 100 million takes about like 8 billion food and lumber, which is pretty much like, if you are not active enough or if you are not like, you do not have like the rally card, if you do not have the biggest alliance in your server, if the alliance is small, cannot rally big uh, uh, bosses and everything. So it will take a little bit of time. But this doesn't mean that your game will be like on suspend until you finish. Like, every 100 million will actually, with this refining, will actually have you qualified to defend against a certain people level. And this is something that you have to have in mind. Like, if you have 150 million T1 troops, up to K40 will never hurt you, will never like make you lose anything. Let me show you one of those ports. I think I have. Okay. So no, but this is.
Honoz, before you
Yep.
continue, just make sure you explain your screen sharing as good as you can, because it's not easy to see your screen. So make just sure you explain what you're showing in voice.
Okay. So my screen's still not okay. I can actually restart it.
Yeah, it's a little. I would say it's the 1919th internet AOL connection style.
Yeah.
So it is. Try and share it again, maybe. Or if not, you can share maybe the screenshots in the chat for the report, Honoz.
Yeah, I'm here. Uh, to do. Okay. I'm sharing my screen again. Maybe this time will be better.
Oh yeah, now at least for me, it's looking
Now it's
better for a short while.
excellent. No, it's okay. So let's see one of those defenses that I had with a very small. Yeah. Uh, First of all, I did not like, if you see like here are my layers, it's 10K layers all across, because at this point I did not have much troops. My power went down to 1.6 million. All what I had is 400 million troops, and pretty much all of the layers that I have. I do not have T15s, by the way. I'm K42, and I do not have T15. So 10 10K everything only ranged a little bit, like one PvP marsh was there, and everything was 10K. Pretty much is it. And let's go to T1, and this is the T1s. The T1s, I had 400 million at this time, or at this point, and pretty much they killed all of the enemy troops with 0 losses. This is how well the refining does in the T1 traps. And guess what? The attacker actually was K44, as you can see, like, his 7.3. No, actually, it's K43. This guy was K43. K43. He's 7.3 million troops, and his buffs is like 3,600. And this is a pretty much tough attack on a small keep. But my keep at this time only had T1s with flat refining, and this is pretty much is everything what protected my keep. And let's look again on what my T1s have done. Just killing without even, like, it's one-shotting a K43, one-shotting K43 attack with 3,600 attack buffs. This is how well the flats does, and this is how good the T1 build is. Even if you are K35, it doesn't matter. Even if you do not have troops in your keep, it doesn't matter. All what it matters is you have the full layers has to be at least 10K for everything. This is why at the start of the conversation or at the start of this event, I said you will have to make T14 before you start your T1 trap, because T14s is one of the most important layers that you can have. And it doesn't matter how much or how many you have in it, you'll have to have all of your layers, all of them complete when you are ready to take defense. So let's go back on the T1 strategy.
And just
150 million.
Honoz, just to clarify your point there, as you mentioned T14, as we are now discussing K35, obviously T14s will be when you reach, if you reach that point, because it will buy you a few extra rounds in defense.
Exactly. Because here's the battle mechanics, which is there is a lot of people are speaking about battle mechanics and everything, and mostly are correct. And those people or those guys knows exactly how to read reports, how to go inside very deep and everything. But let's be clear about something. There is one certain fact. Each layer will defend or attack its equivalent layer at the first round. Like T14 will attack T14, T13 will attack T13, and so on. If you do not have all of the layers, you will have the enemy will attack. For example, if you do not have T14s, you have your keep, the highest troop types are T13. So the keep that will be attacking you will have T14s and T13s both attacking your T13s. And that will give them one stronger punch at the start and will just kill all of your layers very fast. And I do not think that most of those builds survive too much hits, or actually one hit from a very large guy. Or actually they lose more. They tend to lose more. Let's say this. Tend to lose more when you do not have the full layers intact, or at least 10K, as I said. In every attack or every defense you are taking, you will lose from this 150 million. If you have all of the layers, you will lose maybe 10K, 20K, 30K at most. And you can actually heal your 10K layers very fast and take another hit from the same guy, and you still gonna win it, the second one, and you can heal again your 10K layers, and you can take a third hit from the same guy, and you're still gonna win the defense. But if you do not have this setup and your layers are done, one attack will reach your T1s, the second attack will zero you, you will lose all of your troops, and pretty much you will not give a fight. And this is the importance of layers. And this is one mindset that you have to develop. You cannot take solos with a broken layer. This is one thing. You only take one hit. Have to heal those 10K every time you take a hit. T1 traps are good, are very solid for solo. There is two golden rules in T1s. First, you take solo hits, as many as you can, depending on the amount of T1s you have, and depending on the opponent that you have, or that's attacking you, but with full layers. The second thing, when you're T1 trap, you cannot take rallies. No matter who you are, no matter how good your T1 traps is, they are gonna get one-shotted, and pretty much they will not gonna fight back even. So no rallies, no taking solos without or with a broken layers. This is the basics of T1s. So the first checkpoint that you make is Cave 35, T14, and you start building at least 150 billion. This is the first checkpoint. After, of course, you make your refining and you make your equipment or the monarch gear correctly, and you upgrade it as much as you can. You do not worry about if you're T1 trapped for calves, Do not worry about archers. Do not worry about ground. Do not worry about siege. Leave it at level 1. It does not matter with you. You are T1 trap. You are focused. This is how you're gonna go, or you're gonna upgrade your keep very fast, and you're gonna make the checkpoints very fast. And there is kind of like a shortcut to go all around all of the obstacles you get without coining, which is stay focused, manage your keep very well, have your checkpoints, and get to the next level as soon as you can.
Honoz,
So, yep,
just to check in with you, now we have discussed building up to K35, right? If you have more on K35, go ahead, Honoz, or else I can take a few questions that has come up from our excellent
sure,
audience.
sure.
So
Yeah, let's
yeah. Let's do a few of them. I'm going to filter the questions right now to what's related to the first build, to getting to K35. So there's a few questions here related to. I mean, you spoke about the flat refines and the importance of them on your wall general's gear and your dragon, Honos. What would you do with the dragon if you have a wall dragon on your main wall general?
Okay, this is the dragon that I use for any K35 that did not have wings, the SVS wings yet. You can use this one, the Fafnir. It actually comes with the K30, I think. And this is the best general or dragon that you can actually put. You do not put the dragon in T1 trap just because it give you any buffs, or even like the buffs actually matters with you. Like like seriously, let's have this rule. Buffs percentages are not gonna take any effect with you before K44, I think, or K43. When you started, like those mega buffs will actually reflect on the flats a little bit more. Let me explain a little bit about the flats, because this is something that everybody's getting confused about. Let's go here, for example, the attack is like 116. This is their stat. So if you give him like 100%, not 100%, give him 1000%, how much it will reflect on 1000 points that you have? The 1000% is like 100%. It's like, it will increase it from 1116 to 222, for example, or 2232. This is 2000% buffs, and the effect on those numbers in the flats. The flats, when you make flat refining, it actually sum up this amount directly. So if you refined, if you have like all of the dragons, if you have everything, all of the buffs, and all of your buffs are 2000%. Actually, my current now buffs are nearly 2000%. Huh? Let's see. Yeah, it's nearly 2000%. Those are my buffs actually now, and this is what makes my my T1 trap or my T1 calves 1116. I see on, like, the big guys, like, the K45s, these guys that are very very that has, like, 50 100, like 5000%. Their T1 traps go up to 3000 or 4000 maybe in some point, in some cases. But normally all of the percentages are gonna do nothing for you, for your T1s. Only the flats. This is why even like on your Monarch gear, this 180 plus 180 is more important than making anything else and trying to get whatever buff you want to get at this point. So this, if this is if that make it clear. So this dragon here, you're only gonna use it for those 4 lines down and make them more basically flats. You make more flats on this dragon and you put it on the wall so you can actually benefit from those flats. Those flats actually, let's see if I cultivate, like for example, okay. Okay, so it gives, oh, so, okay, no, this is not flats. Hmm. Nothing flats, huh? Okay, no, no, still okay. So you see, it's like 498. 498 can actually give you more. 498 times 4, this is 1600 more flats, like for attack or for um, HP or whatever. It gives you some decent boost to your defense general, and this is when you use the dragon and you make it another flat until you get the SBS dragon, which is like the other one that has a little bit more. This gold dragon that would have a little bit more refines to it. And this is my this is my dragon, and I use one for HP and the other three for attack, and give you 640 points mostly in the flats. And this actually helps more than anything else when you use dragons on your defense general. If that answered the question.
Yes, Honoz, I think that mentioned something about the dragon. I also see there are maybe a bit of misunderstanding or confusion in the audience as related to what we are talking about now with the flats, because I think what we are discussing now, Honoz, is a T1 cav or mounted wall. I know there is some other T1 traps like archers and ground, but that's a very different discussion, because those need probably other flat refines and other builds. So, Hanos, if I'm understanding you correctly now, I think the cheapest thing you can do and the most effective T1 trap you should build is the cav mounted T1 trap, because the others are very specialized and more difficult. At least that's from my point of view.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's like, as I said before, T1 traps are T1s. Like, you choose one type only and you give all of your flat refines to that one type. And you build all of those troops in T1s only for this one type. You cannot actually change. You cannot use ground and calves T1s, and you cannot mix and match, because it will never work unless you have full flats. The refining are full flats for one type. All of your um, flat refining goes to this specific type, and all of your troops, the majority of the troops, are for this T1s. Like ground, you have to refine all for ground, and you have to do only T1 ground. You cannot make T1 caps. If you make T1 caps, they will just die. You are losing points, and you are wasting RSS, and you're not going anywhere. So if you, and this is the first decision that you take, which is which defense general that you are going to use and utilize before you started your journey. Okay, I think at this point, let's speak a little bit about the different types, like why most people are T1 caps, not T1 ground, not T1 archers. Although archers does very, very, very good in some cases, but they are vulnerable, very vulnerable to siege attacks, and even like if you get them reinforced, pretty much they will not survive like rallies. This is for archers, but they do very well in solos. So if you're not planning to be any use to your alliance, for example, you're planning to stay as T1 trap, you're only gonna take buildings. You're not gonna go to the in the battlefields and SVS, and you're not gonna help anyone. You're gonna play solo. Uh, you're not like joining rallies. You're not in rally hive. You're not doing anything activities with your alliance. I think the best way is to go with this ranged T1 trap. In the ground, it is very solid, um, or tanky actually built. It's it's tanking. Like, you can take rallies with it. Can actually be very effective because anything not archers, not siege, like calves and ground, will hit your ground first. Like, this is the first line of defense that you have in your in your keeps. You have like T1 ground. Your keep is actually taking all of the damage. You're not making much points. You're not making much damage to the enemies. But when you're getting reinforced with smaller amount of reinforcements, you actually can take big rallies, and you're not gonna get hammered down. So like the range and the caps, and everything has its own, like, this is what I'm trying to say. Everything has its own play style. The caps is the most popular because it's like, it is the most built that is make to fit all places, as they say. Like, you can play solo, and then when you go a little bit further in the game, and your game becomes a little bit like more and more, and you start to, like, to join the rallies of your um, in the battlefields and everything. This is when your T1 will make you very solid. Your teammates will reinforce you in the rallies. You can jump off the rallies if you want to. If you can take rallies if you get reinforced, and you can still take solos, and you still kind of survive, and you still gonna be helpful. In ground, pretty much all of your troops, like, once you have like a siege attack, most of your keeps dying. If you have like archers, all of your calves and archers will die before your ground actually gonna hit, because ground has very low attack stats. So it takes one or two or three action rounds to kill the enemies. It's very slow in killing. It's very tanky. It can take more troops. It can take more buffs. Swallow it, defend against it, but it kills slower than the calves. The calves can actually one hit, as you see in in this in this report that I showed earlier, can one shoot a K43 with 3600 buffs just in one round with no losses because of their high attack stats. In the ground, this will not be the case. But
And
you can take multiple hits.
Honos,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, but I mean, for the event time, I think we'll sum up the K30 to K35 building, and then we have to move on, I guess, to 35 and to 40 to keep 40, because we have to move along. But to sum up what you've been speaking about, Honos, it's as you go from K30 to K35, you focus on your flat refines for your T1 troops, whether that is cavs, ground, or archers. Siege, you can forget. That doesn't work as a T1 trap. And then you focus on your flat refines and your wall generals. I guess we will get into sub generals and those now that we move into the 35 to 40 level. Do you want to sum up anything else from this section of the key build, Honos?
No, no, no. It's like now everything is straight. You have your K35, you have your T1s, you have a very solid amount of T1s. Like, I wouldn't like go to the next step before you make like at least 300 million T1 T1 caps or whatever the type you're building, because, like, the next step will be a little bit more technical and will be a little bit more hard to make.
Yeah, and
The
as
next
you,
step.
as you and as you move from K30 to K35, Honoz, what you're saying is focus completely on your flat refines and your flat buffs, and don't build higher tire defense because that's not going to work for you. So keep your other higher tires at just fill layers type of stuff, and then work on your
Yep.
T1 troops and your flat buffs. I guess that's the main takeaway.
Correct. Yeah. Do
Okay,
not build.
let me see, let me check, Honos. I'm just going to check there is no more questions related to the specific build we are doing. I think some of the questions that has come into the chat is probably more related to the next level we're going to discuss. So I'll wait with those
Okay.
questions, Honos, and then you can go on to the K35 to 40 strategy.
Okay. Now it's like you finished this first checkpoint. Now you want to go from 35 to 38. You do not go to 40, 38 first. Only keep. Shoot it up to K38. And with the keep, make sure that your academy, your military academy, are upgraded with them to K38. So in this is when your game starts. With SVS, you'll be able to play battlefields. Then having just a T1 trap. You still okay? So you still see my screen, or it come again blurred?
For me, I can see your screen, Honos, but it's still
Perfect.
kind of 1990s pixelated porn. Yeah.
Okay, it's okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
All right. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So now the major two things that you want to make while you are upgrading to K38 is, as I said, all of your resources will not gonna go to training any more troops. All your resources will go to the buildings, like K38, like in a wall, K38. This is pretty much what you make, and then the academy and military academy as soon as you can. Uh, this is when you start to okay, I have a T1, I have like 4, 5, 6 subs. My VIP level is like from 13 to 14, something like this. And you have like 5. Basically, you should be having 5 subs at this time. The subs is the only one thing that actually you can focus on at this checkpoint. The subs is basically giving you more debuffs. Debuffs are an extension for your buffs. Like the more you can weaken the attack of your or you can take a defense from somebody, the more you can weaken them, the better your defenses will work. Basically, let's see, for example, here, any one of those guys. Uh, this is the optimum thing that you want to go to. Is all of your equipment will be Parthen, should be on all of your subs. You should be wearing all Parthen, not like Achaemenid. Achaemenid is like, it's okay if you do not have like the those like certificates to upgrade. Keep the 4 Achaemenid as here, for example, like I have 6 Achaemenid. 6 Achaemenid is not a problem, but the ultimate goal is to make your subs and you make your sub equipment, all of them, first to make them Achaemenid, and then make them Parthen, and make them all at the same time. Like, do not upgrade 1 equipment or 2, and you lose this the 6/6 enemy troop attack minus 15%. Never lose this. This is one of the important things. Basically, if you are a T1 trap, your nemesis is strange. So you want to focus on range attack, debuffs. You want to focus on the second nemesis for you will be ground. So you want to focus on ground HP and ground defense if you can.
Honoz,
Otherwise,
just to interrupt you there, sorry. When you're talking about debuffs now you're talking if you are a T1 cav trap, right? Just make that clear.
yeah, T1 calves. So T1 calves, your nemesis is like archers, then ground, then calves. So the archers, because like you are taking solos now. So you want to debuff as much archer attack as you can. You want to debuff as much ground HP as you can. You want to debuff as much calves attack as you can. If you're ground, your nemesis is calves. So you want to, and then ground, and then archers, like, sometimes archers actually hurt if they're very strong, but the most important thing is to debuff calves if you're ground T1 trap. If you are archer T1 trap, you want to debuff as much as you can for ground. So ground attack is the most, it's one of the most difficult things, alongside with siege debuffs and archer HP and defense debuffs. And this is like, for Bitcoiners, this is for end game. Don't worry about it. I know that everybody, like, hearing a lot of things about it, but those are not your focus points now. Your focus point always is archers attack, calves attack, and ground HP when you are T1 calves. Your focus on when you are T1 ground is calves attack, ground HP, and archers attack as well. But this is your third priority. Pretty much archers is like, go everything for ground and take whatever you can take after this, with archers attack as well, because archers kill archers. So this is how you actually can choose your what type of equipment you will have. You will see all of the equipments here. This is craft. So you see here, for example, like, this one ground HP and mounted HP, the other one is range attack. So depend on your build type, you choose which one is better for you. This is on every single piece of your equipment that you will choose to equip on your subs, and this is the most important thing. You have to finish all of the sets of Achaemenid, the Parthen, as much as you can, and this checkpoint from 35 to 38. You'll have to make all of the academy, military academy. The academy has three things. Let me show you what is the most important, because like, most people will tell you the buffs, and it's not your concern at this point. It's actually other three things. First, like, this defense tree should be at K35, finishing it. You will have like the sub-city, the subnorate city tree. This one is very important to max out. Or of course, like, max out those, like, important things, like, increase the training speed, survival for your troops and their subsidies and everything. This is one of the trees that you have to finish as soon as you can. When and in 38, in K38 or level 38, all of this will be finished. And you have in your, not in your alliance, in your medical aid, you have actually three skills that you have to make sure you make it, which is the light of server war, because this will make the cost of healing your troops lower when you go to SVS, because SVS rewards give you Blood of Ares. Blood of Ares will make you upgrade your general, your defense general first, and then your sub-city generals to make him like 10 stars. So this is one important skill that you can actually prioritize more than any attack or whatever you have for buffs until you finish it. And the subnorite city, you have to finish all of the important ones, like the survival of your troops and the training speed of your troops. And then in the military advance, those 4 down on the bottom are the most important because they are debuffs. This you can actually finish them before, like those 4 in the bottom, or any debuff technology. You have to put it as your first priority, other than your percentage, and you do not care if your buffs are 800 or 1000. It really doesn't matter. You are T1. Everything is flats that will affect your T1s, no matter what they are, and the debuffs that you will have. And of course, in in the defense, also you have a lot of debuff skills, I think, somewhere here. So anyway, so those are the things that you need to focus on. Debuffs from like K35 to K38, debuffs, and a lot of areas to make your defense general first, as much as you can, red stars, and then your sub-city generals as much as you can. Okay, so sub-city generals at K38, how I can choose a good sub-city general? Good sub-city general is basically a set of skills. Here's the thing. Balduin become very easy this time to make him. This is one of the best free-to-play sub-city generals that you can actually obtain. And you have to work on his specialties, because the specialties give you more debuffs. And the more you have in his debuffs, the better keep you have, and the more solid keep you will have. Focusing on every single ounce of debuff that you can get from everywhere. This is your prime goal from K35 to K38.
Honoz,
Let's go here.
just a short interruption now that you're speaking about subgens and possible subgens. You're still talking about as the point of perspective as a T1 cav trap,
No, it's here's the thing.
or is
You
it general?
have 5 sub-cities. Yeah, the sub-cities, there is two things. We agreed that all of the 3 T1 traps will get prioritizing the archers attack debuffs. So archer attack debuffs, you have 2 generals that are easy to obtain and will actually boost your archer attack debuffs, no matter how much or how or what is your build. If your build is T1 cabs or T1 archers or T1 ground, you will need to debuff the archer attack. And those 2 generals that I will, that's Balvin, one of them, and the other one is Andrew Jackson. Those 2 are a must sub-generals that you will have, or you should have, and you should invest in their specialities and the red stars right after your defense general. Those 2. And then anything that you can get is a plus at this point. Of course, it depends on your build. You can choose whatever you can get and whatever you can upgrade, like for red stars. But Balduin, from my perspective, and Andrew Jackson are the most important 2 sub-city generals to have for a free-to-play, no matter what your build is. It will give you the maximum archer's attack debuffs as a small free-to-play player. Okay? And then all of the generals, like everything else, is just whatever you can get. get. Like, you can. I see people like using Herald because it gives, like, something like for all troop types, which is good. It's not bad. Some people are using like Nero, which gives like more HP debuffs, which is good. It's not bad, and he's like free from Tavern, General, and Herald. It's the same. You have who else? You pretty much have a lot of like subsidy generals here that you can actually use, but it depends on your luck. Like Jen Carroll give you a lot of like cabs attack debuffs, which is good, but everything depends on your keep and your luck, and this is related to luck stuff. Like, you can get a lot of like generals that it's very hard to get, and you cannot get one general that's very easy and everybody has, but you do not have even one copy of it. This is a game, and you just, like, have to move with it. And my recommendation is always goes specialities for Baldwin and for Andrew Jackson. This is the first, because like a specialities takes a lot of gems and a lot of like stones, like, runestone. So do not waste them, and put them in somewhere that you can actually use.
And
So
Honoz, as I think probably a question among some of the audience here is, as you move from K35 and towards K40, what priority would you how would you kind of would you first focus on debuffs and that stuff before you build out your T1 trap wall? Because I think as a K35, maybe you're typically 300 million T1. What's your end goal as a K40? I mean, you have to have a certain amount of sub generals with a certain amount of the right debuffs, and then you have to have a certain amount of T1s. And then you also have to probably at some point later add T2 and T3. So maybe touch a bit on that, Honoz.
okay, so let's focus on something here. Uh, I'm talking about like the best practice at the fastest way. Doesn't mean that this is the correct way or this is the wrong.
Honoz,
It's the fastest.
please make a
Not
little.
wasting RSS on something that will not friends when you make spend those. This is what I'm trying to, like, touch.
You're falling a bit out, I think, Honoz. So I think you should try and start from the start again. I'm sorry.
No, this is not a problem. Okay, you can hear me now, huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So anyway, it's raining outside, so I think the it's raining very heavy outside now. I think this is what makes the internet flaps. Anyway, uh, yeah. So what I'm saying is I'm trying to say what is best and what is, like, the least effort and the maximum output or the maximum gains that you'll get. It's it's pretty simple. You can make everything you want to make. It's not like the end of the world. You can do whatever. You can play around. You can prioritize a lot of things other than that. What I'm saying here is those are the checkpoints that if you are a new player or you are kind of lost of how to build correct and in the same, or it's not correct, how to build in the best way you can with the shortest amount of time and efforts that you can spend. This is how we make. So it's like 35 this first checkpoint, 38 the second checkpoint. You focus solely when you go to 35 on the defense general and the flats, until 38, you start to focus only on the debuffs and the technology that actually matters to you. And then this is at this time, you probably will have, as I said, like 300 million T1s or 400 million T1s, maybe. You'll have very solid refining on your defense general. You will have very, or actually above average debuffs for a free to play player, because like a lot of debuffs is not space for free to plays. It's the space for heavy coiners. Like, you have to have like a lot of civilization gears and a lot of like premium generals that are fully red starred on your sub generals and your sub cities, and this is something that is not achievable. So let's focus on what we can achieve. Debuffs in 38 is your main focus. Then this is when you finish that, you will start here. At this point, take your decision depending on your alliance. Here, your alliance will make role in your next move. Your next move will be, okay, I am a very good defense, T1 trap. I can go in SVS. I can make positive scores all the time. I can make my server win. I actually, in battlefields, yes, I am not helping my alliance in rallies and everything because I do not have PvP marshes, but I have very solid defense. Probably I can make one archer's attack. Uh, uh, at this point, can make one archer march, like PvP march, to grab a building or whatever. Have like little building fights, and if I cannot like take the troops inside the building for whatever reason, I can call it out by like scouting it, and one of my alliance will go ahead and get it. And this is how I actually uh, gonna contribute. Now, if I'm getting like a little bit bored, I'm getting a little bit like, okay, I am sick of like defending. I'm sitting there all the time. I'm taking defenses. Not most of the people are attacking me now because I'm K38 and I'm very solid. Like, whoever attacked me once never hit me again because, like, they splat, and that's pretty much is it. So it's okay to go ahead for the next step. The next step is you start to go ahead and make your blazons, make your other buffs. This is when you start to focus on your buffs. Focus on your attack buffs, your defense and HP buffs for attacking. Like, this is why we make military academy, but we did not speak about it when we are T1 defense. We have military academy, we have a lot of like, buffs that will help us in attack and will help us in joining rallies, help us in like defending against the buildings. If I put one marsh there, it will help me if I'm reinforcing one of my teammates. Everything will come in use. Depends on your decision at this point. You go for K40, and no matter how fast or slow you are going to K40, because at this point you are going to train more troops in different kinds, not T1s. You are going to make one ground, one archers, one calves, PvP marshes, and you would have like to have 3 generals that you will work on. You would have to have their equipment refined. You would have to have their specialities refined, and specialities make or made, and their red stars has to be done as well. At this point, it will take from you a little bit of time, but the outcomes will be okay. Depends on your decision. Or you can actually choose that to go to K40, same like K38, only T1, and you are increasing your T1 trap, and you are playing only to take defenses. This is when your decision will be taking T2s and T3s and T4s and T5s and T6 with you in your T1 trap journey. Because like T1, as we speak about at the beginning, cannot take rallies. The only way you can take rally is to get reinforced. That means that you will have to have a big embassy size. At K38 is the least, is the minimum you can get your embassy and start to take reinforcements, because at K38 your reinforcements is around like 22 to 25 million. This is most, or probably the least amount of reinforcements you can get as a T1 trap, and you win from a very, very, very 50 or 60 million uh, rally on you, or a double rally. You can survive with 22 to 25 million reinforcements inside your keep. That means that you have to the K38, and you have to have your embassy a little bit bigger, and you have to have a little bit more T2s, T3s, T4s, T5s as defensive layers for your T1s. At least 50 million each layer at the starting point, like T2, T3, T4, 50 million, 50 million, 50 million. This is when, started to, and the T1, T2, T3, T4 still uses the flaps as their main buff source, and they would work very good. They would work perfectly. If you have them, they are a little bit more expensive in building, and they take a lot more resources, but they are worth it when you decide to be the T1 that will take defense inside the rally hive. If this was your decision. And K39, K40 actually takes a lot of resources and takes a lot of time to upgrade. Like K38 is a little bit easier, but it depends on your decision, and your alliance, like how, what is the rules are missing inside the alliance, they are looking for more rally fillers, like your main rally setter is with a very, very everybody to go ahead and fill this rally. This decision based on your alliance and your friends. Am I breaking up?
You're still good, at least from my point of perspective, Honoz. I can hear you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Honoz, also as we are discussing, the layer sizes and everything as you grow from K35 and to K40. Let's do a a proper warning about doing big siege layers, because I met a lot of trap keeps that don't understand the mechanics related to siege. So I just wanted to point out that if you're a trap, no matter if you're a cav trap, a ground trap, or archer trap, never build huge layers of siege, because with siege, your enemy can target your siege exclusively. It means that if you have a million or two of T14, T13, T12, or T11 siege, I can, as a basic K40, attack your trap keep with a siege march and target all of your siege and kill them and get positive scores. So remember that never ever do big siege layers. Keep those as low as possible, like 10 to 30k each. Honoz, what's your view on that?
Yeah. Regarding siege actually has a pre-battle. Like let's say that siege fight themselves first, and then they start to snipe archers after, before any troop type actually can touch them. So your siege will attack the incoming siege, but most of the people who actually attack with siege are very strong. So do not like think that you can actually defend siege with a huge amount of siege. So Cesar, what he says, perfectly spot on. Do not make more than like 100k layers of siege at most. This is your optimum, or like from 100 to 300k. This is your optimum, because you do not want to have very, very small amount of siege in such a way that any siege attack will just kill your archers. And In the same time, you do not want to make big layer of siege. It's very vulnerable to any siege attack, and you're just losing points. So siege, do not touch. It's an end game thing, and it's as well space for the coiners. It's not space for free to play. You can never ever have a very good siege defense if you are below K44 and you are not spending. Cannot, like, this is one fact that we have to live with, unfortunately, but this is the fact. So do not even try it. The only one thing that you can make actually for siege is like train a little bit more in T4s. What I noticed that T4s, regardless of people says that T4 is not for defense and everything, T4 siege, they actually waste 1 or 2 or 3 rounds until your other troops get activated, and T4s, the loss power of them is very low. So if you have like 5 million or 10 million T4s, it's not a bad idea. You are losing about like 100 million, maybe 150 million power, but you are protecting your archers. This is my opinion, because like on a T1 trap, when you're especially or a T1 calves or ground, as soon as calves or ground like reaches the siege range, like go in the side siege and start to hit him, they kill them very fast. And it takes them 1 round to kill any siege solo on you. Those like 5 million T4s or maybe T1s even, like, have one very small layer that has 5 million or 10 million maybe. This is not a bad idea. Otherwise, do not train siege.
So that's a point about siege, Honoz, and just a reminder, because these events we can waffle on for for a long time, but we have already gone on for almost half an hour. And is there anything more, Honoz, you want to quickly mention as related to getting to the K40 area of a trap keep? Because if not, I think I would like to take people up on the stage to ask questions.
Yeah. Please.
I mean, to sum up, Honoz, we talked about a lot, getting from K35 to K40, and I'm sure some people are confused as of now as to how to do different things. So I would very much like the audience to raise their hand so we can take you on stage and you can ask your questions. And remember, there are no dumb questions. I would like to take any questions from the audience. And just introduce yourself if you get onto the stage, who you are, what server and continent you're from, and shortly what your keep is. And maybe Honoz and me will, or the audience will help you answer your questions. Or if there's anything we have touched on today that you would like a bit more explanation of, whether it's flat refines or wall generals or sub generals, or the amount of T1s or T2s or T3s or whatever it might be, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll take your questions up on stage, or you can ask them just directly in the event room, of course, if you rather want that. I don't know if you have anything more to add, Honoz, while we're waiting for possible questions.
Yeah. Until somebody comes in the stage, because I'm not like seeing Discord now.
Okay,
uh,
I'm not seeing.
yeah.
I'm sure Anya will bring them on stage if there is somebody raising their hands. But
At any
or
time.
else, yeah, or else, Honoz, is there any? Is there kind of like? Do you have any short
Depends on.
sentences about how to build
Yeah.
trap keeps on a short note?
Yeah. This is like, this is basically what make a trap keep very solid, like until K38 and then K40. This is how you build a very solid, like, trap keep. There is a strategy that always, when you play a trap keep, is, as we said before, only take one solo always heal the layers, like make like from here, from like your rally spot, go in troop detail, not troop details, to go in like your presets, make one preset that is full layers. Go here, make full layers of 20k or 10k, and always heal this one preset every time you see one defense report. When you see it, heal it. When you see the defense report, heal this preset, and then see the defense how it go. Sometimes you get like defense reports, like let me um, if you can actually see my screen.
Currently, it's just being busy, but I think the point you're making, Honoz, about healing layers is something that I often see traps are failing at in both SVS and Battlefield. Is that the importance of keeping your fill layers in your keep? And when we say fill layers, that's all your troop types from your highest to your lowest tier. Make a preset, as Honoz says, with it can be 1k, 5k, or 10k, but you have to heal between any hit you take. You have to heal back 5k or 10k of all troop types in order for your T1s to become effective. Because if you don't have complete layers, what it means is that if you're missing half of your layers in your keep, then the attacker will have a lot of extra turns hitting your T1 troops, and they will be rendered less effective. So that's a very important kind of tip here, for sure. So
Let's put it in a simple way. You get one hit, you're defending, defense is one, everything is okay, and you did not heal. Most probably 90% of the time, the next attack will zero you.
yeah,
If you healed, the next attack, you might survive. Unless, if you see my screen, unless you see something like this. Like when you have like 400k, 500k troops, and you see your wounded is more than 100, that means your T1s got affected. And that means that your T1s got targeted and they are dying. Even if you heal this layer, probably pretty much that attacker, that specific attacker, will still zero you.
I
So
think we
if you
have
have,
somebody, Hano, sorry. I think we have somebody on the stage with a question. I think Kale, but before I saw a quick question related to the healing march, because they said if you're being attacked, how can you heal quickly? And a good tip here is that if you have a preset with like 5k of all your troops as a trap keep, if you know you're going to get hit, ghost like 2 or 3 marches of heal troops. So then it's a lot quicker in Battlefield if you're getting hit and you can stay
and
outside your city and not in your hospital. Then you can just unghost between each hit. You can unghost your healing marches. So that's a
and there
good
is
tip.
something else. And there is something else. There is a quick button right next to
Yes.
this, like there is like in the middle down. There is a quick button to go inside this like hospital. Go heal this preset very very fast. Like heal.
Yeah, this is a new
Heal.
addition they added for a little
Mhm.
ago, that you can access your hospital and your March presets quickly. But the ghosting is the fastest. And I think let's take a question from Kali. Please introduce yourself and let me hear your question.
Hi, I'm Callie. I'm from server 553. I have a question regarding T2 and T4 calves on a trap keep. I have seen some scouting reports where someone will have 1 billion T1 calves, 500 million T2 calves, and then a certain high amount of T4. Does the T2 and the T4 really do anything for you as far as being an effective trap?
Yes, it actually. Here's the thing. In terms of rounds, in terms of the mechanics of the game, every layer hit the corresponding layer. Okay, and if there is no layer on the other side, they only hit the top layers. So it's a lot of like let's say your T1, T2, T3, T4. Okay, all of them will hit the T14s or the T15s first. All of them together at the same time. But their T14s or T15s will hit only your T4s until they are finished. And then they will go down to your T3s until they are finished. And then they will go down again to T2s and everything. So the more higher layers you have that actually get benefited from your flats, which is like T1, 2, 3, 4, is the better. So yes, they do. They do a lot of things actually. They actually shield your T1s, and they make a lot of like more effective, as they call it, like the beef layer in front of your T1s until the T1s go and kill your and kill the attack. So yes,
Honoz,
it's a good idea.
Yeah, could I add something to that, Honoz, from Kali's
Sure.
question? In addition to what Honoz mentioned, don't add T2 or T3s before you actually have a good amount of T1s first. And remember that before you add T2 and T3s and T4 on your trap, you have to be at the right space where you have the right subgenerals and the right flat and the right build before you do that. There's no reason to add T2, T3 troops if you have like 300 million T1s. That's too early. And another point too is that if you're adding more T2, T3, and T4, you're going to bleed more points if you do SVS as compared to maybe in Battlefield, if that's your focus. If you're getting reigns and you have a lot of T2 and T3s, it's going to help you better tank rallies in Battlefield. But in solos, you're going to bleed more points if you lose more T2, T3, and T4s. So what I'm typically seeing in traps, like if you're a K39, K40 trap, you have typically 1 billion T1 cav, and then you have maybe 200 to 300 million T2s and maybe 100 million T3s. But don't go too crazy on those, I think, because the more you add all those, the worse it's going to be in SVS if you get hit and you don't have reigns and so. So just be careful with adding too much of the other troop types. I'm not sure,
so
Kali, if it answered your questions, whether or not you should build them. I think that was your question.
Yeah, it did. I have a K35, so it's obviously not quite to the 1 billion T1 mark yet, but I was just curious because I just keep seeing it on reports, and then with K45 and T15, it doesn't make a difference. So I think that answers that.
Yeah. So as a K35, Kali, I think if you have 300 to 500 million T1s, you should probably be careful about adding a lot of T2 and T3s. I think you should wait until you get more higher levels and more debuffs. I think Honoz, what's your final?
Let's put like some marks. I have put it in the guide, but I will repeat them now. 150 million are enough for K40. 250 million are enough for K41. 350 are enough for K42 and K43 actually. 450 are for the strong K43. 450 to 500 are for strong K44s. 650 million mark, you can tank at K35 a hit from K45, and even if he's like 4,500 buffs. So it's like it's a mark. It's a game of numbers. It's a game of amounts of troops against amounts of troops, smaller troops, but with larger buffs. So if you're K35, first focus to make 550 million at least before you can actually stand against a K44 or K45 and expect to have like a good outcome out of it. And if, of course, if you have 1 billion, this is good. This is not bad, but probably not a lot of people will go ahead and solo you. They will go ahead and keep rallying you. So if you are in SVS K35, first checkpoint is like make 300 million and be very selective on the target or the keeps that actually are getting to attack you. When you go to this 450 million to 550 million, this is when you can confidently stand your ground against like K44s, sometimes against a little bit weaker K45s, which is not a lot of weak K45s in the game because it takes too much RSS to make K45, and pretty much he is spending like crazy, and he has extremely well built and all of the buffs and debuffs in the world. So yeah, do not think about T2, T3, T4 before you make at least 550 million T1s at the K35. And whenever you are thinking about like building those other layers, you are thinking about rallies that come into you with a big empathy at K38. This is the point at K40. K40, K35, we said just keep like 300 million to 400 million, whatever. I'm just like, I don't want you to go ahead and build a lot of troops and delay your progress. So it's like, actually, if you ask me, I have, if you ask my advice, I will get 300 million T1s at K35 and then I will move to K38. I'm not gonna increase T1s. I'm not gonna bother myself by building more troops. Not T2, T3, whatever. Those are useless for me at this stage. My stage is now I make K41, K35, make best defense general I can make. I have 300 million, which is enough to take hits up to K42, up to K42, not more.
Okay, Honoz,
And
I think we have another question on the stage from Gotpep. You had a question. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Yes, you can just call me Pep. I know you said at K38 that you would work on academy and military academy and the subgens. What about the duty? Would you suggest when they finish their defense gens to go ahead and start on their duty as well?
Okay. So duty generals are basically giving you percentages. So it's one common myth that percentages will actually make any difference for you when you're T1 trap.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like an K40. It depends on your decision. This is why we did not speak about like duty generals. We speak about debuffs. We are trying to take the fast track, and everything you are spending will probably benefit you at some point in your game. But the fast track is not to worry about the things that will not have a short outcome. This is not the low-hanging fruit that you're looking for. Duty generals. Duty generals is when you have a lot of like layers. You are like from 8 billion to 11 billion in power, and you need to increase your debuffs. Not debuffs. I'm sorry. You need to increase your in-city buffs.
Yes.
When you focus on duty generals, this is actually after K40, not before K40.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Gotpep, for asking. And Honoz, I might have misunderstood a bit, but did we also want to talk quickly about defense from K40 and upwards? And I think we need to make that rather as a quick thing, Honoz.
Okay, so after K40, there is a lot of like here at this point. If you are K40 and you're free to play, probably your inventory has a lot of things that you did not use because you are on the fast track for K40 before that. So there is a lot of things that you did not use, and this is when it's a good idea and good time to use. Let's go around where is the buffs, the ones that require you a daily care, like you make something every day for it. And there is things that actually you will spend one time when you're K40, K41, whatever. Uh, the first thing that you want to make is blazons. Your blazon, you are before K40, you're only putting your blazon on defense. Probably do not need blazons to be anything like level 20 or level 19 or 15 or whatever. You do not need them at this time because you are T1 trap. Let's get used to this fact. This fact you put on defending because you get extra debuffs from the blazons. So you can actually be K38 with blazons level 1. It does not matter. You are building up your blazons and you are making you are locking actually all of the blazons that can help you in the future. Like for example, like this one, attacking ground attack when attacking, or this one um, like those universal ones, for example, that you can use because like this is when defending, I think, yes, when it gives you like a lot of like minus 25% defending mounted troop attack and range troop defense. This is what you want to like lock and keep it in your inventory, and that's it. This is when you go first with all of the blazons that you have piled up throughout this months and months of building your keep as T1. You can actually go ahead and selectively see what's your weakness, like what is like the weakest buff you have, and start to work on that blazon. Uh, make it level 10 first until you get two lines. You have two lines identical. For example, universal, or when defending, or when attacking, whatever the case is. You have two lines, and your aim is to get the third line same as those two lines. Then leave that at level 10 and go to another one. Make all of your blazons level 10. Three lines, good three lines. Once you have them, check again. What is your defense or what is your weakness? Like what is your least buff and what is the buff that you want to increase? And this is at K40, K40, K41. And now you're taking the decision of like training troops, joining rallies. You have like some troops that you want to protect and you want to buff up. Not at K35, not at K38. Talking now K41, K40, K41, K42. Blazons are your most important thing to make. Duty generals, as we speak, yes, you need to go ahead and upgrade the duty generals. You want to have like as much as you can those like premium duty generals, level 1, doesn't matter, like not level 1, like 5 stars, not 10 stars, not red stars, does not matter, but has to be specialized outside of those ones from the tavern. Another very, very good buff source is your champions. This is, you need to go ahead and upgrade the champions every day. Like, you need to like tickle this champion 10 times and give her like, 10 hearts, 15 hearts, whatever. You need to make this every day, but you will have a lot of like champions to make. So which one you choose depends on the skills. What is the debuff? Do not think about buffs. Think about debuffs. Which of those champions give you debuff? These are the ones that you prioritize. And when you get like one or two debuffs, switch to another one and try to make them all uh, level up according the debuffs that they give at which level and everything. So as you see, like my champions here, like level 90, level 18, level 18, level 12, level 13, and this is level 15. Depends on the debuffs they give. Like for example here, level 18. Why? Because at level 18, I got another 25 debuff for whatever troop type, enemy range, and siege HP. This is how I choose my champions. And then After blazons, after champions, what else you need? You need to go ahead and make sure that your civilization treasures are more than level 4 at this point. Every event that you can buy those red boxes, buy them. This is one of the things that actually increase your marsh, increase your debuffs, increase your buffs, make very useful solid keep at this point. Also, your art treasures, the art treasures like level 3 are good starting point. You want to make this from the events that comes. Whenever you see those boxes, try to make them and upgrade them. Senate is one thing that you want to like look at. Does not matter if you have like a lot of like red stars in your duty or in the Senate itself. I don't have like too many red stars. I don't care. I unlocked only the those buffs, and this is pretty much what I need. But those ones, when you are like upgrading by time, and you will find like at K40, K41, you will have a lot of like resources to make some changes in your keeps and your debuffs. So in this one, you prioritize also the ones that give you defense or give you instant debuffs. Because let's focus on defense. Even when you make a lot of troops, think that you can be focused from K40 and as much as you can in the in position treasures. The champions for the the more debuffs you get out of them is better, and the blazons as well. There's a very very good one thing that I see people actually misperceive and misuse, which is the seals. The seals has very good boost, and in the same time it's tricky. You have a lot of like champions, like a lot of like spiritual beasts. Those spirit beasts always go in your sub cities because they mostly give you more debuffs. So you make them level 10 and you put them on your sub cities, and you actually use their debuffs, the extra debuffs they have. They at this point of the K40, K41, K42, you want to be very careful because the required blue stones that they need actually are very rare. You cannot get them anywhere from like you can get them like only for coining, or I think 80 stones every day from rally. So you have to be very, 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 very careful in using them. So my strategy in like upgrading those is like I make all of my spiritual beasts first to level 10 to unlock and start to like use my seals. My seals go as much as I can to those that gives debuffs, that gives in-city buffs. This is my first priority. And my first priority is not like to make them up to the maximum level. No, it's actually to make the spirit beast itself reach or unlock one of those talents down. So I go, for example, here, I make him level 10 to unlock this skill, like this first skill. It gets unlocked at level 10. And I leave this spirit beast and I go to another one. And I find the in-city buffs and I try to, make it as much as I can, like to level 7 here. Like, not this one. Where is this one doesn't have. Like here in city, I make it to level 5 of 20. And then I use one here, one here, one here, as much as I can to reduce the cost of upgrading those seals and unlock the first skill. And until I make all of my the spirit beasts, all of them, level 10, and I unlock the first skill, I go back to them and I make them level 15, one by one, level 15, one by one, until all of them are level 15s. And then I go back again and make them one by one to level 20. And it depends, like, to make sure that I unlock those 3 skills there. And those 3 skills actually give you in-city buffs and make you more solid and more better defense. So,
Honoz, I'm sorry, but I need to interrupt because I think we need to wrap the event up, and also I think we have another question on the stage from Livu. I'm sure I butchered your name, but go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah.
Yes. Hi, guys. Well, very thanks about this this event. It's really nice that I'm here. So I was here, but I've missed some of the things. So I'm working. I'm from C4, Content 4, server 1025.
Yeah.
So I am working on a trap keep. I'm now almost K38, already upgraded, but just need to speed it up. That's all. So but I'm still working on the refiners, flat refiners. So that's one thing I haven't done it yet. So I tested it. One time I was until now I haven't got a successful defense that I can take. So long time ago, it used to be, if you have 200 T1, you can take an attack and you can still defend. But I haven't get any successful defense yet. So my question is, you mentioned something about the siege level 4. I've missed that thing, and also I use now Nero as a defense, but it provides a good what do you call a good debuff, heal power, HP debuff. But the thing is, it doesn't increase it doesn't increase the buffs, the attack buffs or defense buffs or anything else. So I saw a good player using that, but it seems the attacking buffs or defense buffs are still low. So I think I'm gonna change that. So I'm using Nero as the main and then Baldwin as an assistant. So I feel it's not working very much. So I need help with that. And so that's all.
Okay. So what you make actually is very technical. Let me tell you one thing I want to see. Yep. I one time faced one opponent like this guy. He had 300 million T1s, and as you see, his layers are. You can see my screen.
Honoz, if you're sharing, you have to reshare because it hasn't been shared for a while.
Yeah, we haven't seen your screen for a while now. You may close it, maybe and redo it again.
Okay.
And to be honest, when we have seen it, it has been mostly pixels, but it's okay. And while Honoz is restarting his screen, I saw a few things related to the anti-T1 trap attack in the chat, and just be clear of this. If you build your T1 trap keep correctly, there is no anti-T1 trap attack on you, right? Just that's an illusion. If you do everything right with the flats and your sub generals and your wall generals and your layers, nobody, not even a K44 or K45, can one hit solo you and go out with it positive. That's just an illusion, because that's the wrongly built traps that suffer that. So, but however, there is certain K44s and K45s that are very knowledgeable about the mechanics of the game. And they might target your trap with smaller marches to get to your layers, your fill layers, your defensive fill layers. So they might set up like a lover, archer, or cav solo to try to clear your fill layers and then hit you with a huge march to get your T1s. And that's why we're saying that you have to be, you have to observe this, because if you don't heal your fill layers in between hits, if a K44 hits you with 2 smaller specific marchers and then a third large march, then you actually can be vulnerable, because then you haven't healed any fill layers in between the hits, and then the last hit will zero you. So just as a short note to everybody, you have to make sure that if you're hit, you have to refill your fill layers in your keep. And if you get hit and you're not sure how it went, port away, take a breather, watch your keep, heal back fill layers, and go again. Just a short notice there. So
Yeah,
go ahead, Honoz.
after a little bit of time, you will know you lost your T1s or not from the power you lost. So you first heal your layers and you check your power. With a little bit of experience, you'll know your T1s are getting hit or not. And this is very important thing that you make. But anyway, let's get back to your question. You use Nero, which is a debuff
Yeah.
general. This is one good thing. Like, this is very technical, because like sometimes when people are building, it's technical, but at the same time it's costly, and you have to understand this fact. Because when you use Nero, that means that you'll have to go ahead and work on his specialities, and let's agree on the fact your buffs is non-relevant at this point. It's only your flats. It's only your flats. The flats, if you are missing one line of flats, not refined yet, your defense is not going to work. It's only working when you have very good vines for flats, for everything. So this guy was one idle T1 throws every time they hit this planet, and they have like 4,700 buffs, and they're very strong up. And he uses this same trick that you used, which is like the two sub generals. He used Mark Antony, which is debuff general, and he used David, again another sub general. Look at his debuffs, or look at his equipment. This is his main defense general. He work on his specialities, everything, so he can get the maximum debuffs. But look at his refines. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, and it's all birthing.
Look, it's like all of the refines is for calves. All of the refines are like 1.9. It's like it's the most you can get actually. And all of the attack is like over 1,000. All of the defense are over 600, as you see. So he is very solid at 300 million T1. This is, and he has like, of course, this extra bonus when he used the two debuff generals, but it's very costly. Like, if you are not spending anything on the game, this is kind of like, yes, it gives you one short gain at this point, but at the same time, it costs you too much, and it delays actually your growth. So it's better to use your defense general, as we spoke at the first, like those ones that will actually matter later when you're K40 or K41. Use them, because you will spend their specialties, you spend the gems, like it's around like 1 million gems on each specialty, I think, or around this figure. And all of the refines that actually, to make one set for flats, it will cost you from like 3 million to 6 million, depends on luck. And your luck and your gold and your like refining stones and everything, it will cost you about like from 3 to 6 million gems as well. And you're not spending, that means the gems is difficult to get them at this point, like when you're K35 or K38 even. So be very careful with that. Those generals, you can later on put on your subs and have the advantage of when you're K38, like one fully spec uh, general. And definitely the choice won't be like, for me, like if you ask me, the choice won't be Nero. I would use, like, for example, Andrew Jackson as my main. Maybe it's not a problem. But I'm not gonna increase his like red stars for now. I'll wait until I make Boudica if I'm T1 Cavs, or I make Tran if I'm ground, or I make Zachary Taylor if I'm range. Red stars, even if he's like level 25, and that's it. I'm not gonna use him on the wall, and just like use two debuff generals more. That means that it's like it's as if I have two extra subs at this level. This is, as I said, it's very technical. It's very good idea to make. It's not wrong, but it's costly. This is all what I'm saying. And your defense will not work. Yeah, and defense will not work if you do not make all of your refines for flats and with golden refines, not like orange refines or purple or whatever. Has to be golden refines. Has to be the most that you can get. This is when you will win all of the defense, and it will be depending on your T amount, the T1 amount that you have. As I said, 150 million, no K40 will penetrate. 250, no K41 will penetrate. 300 million, you will survive and you stand your ground up to K42. The strongest, I'm speaking now about the strongest K42 you can ever face. Not like one K42 that is like a little bit weak.
Honoz,
You can actually.
Honoz, thank you. The event is stretching on to 2 hours now, but I wanted to see. I'm seeing that we have Wonky in our stage,
Yep.
and it will be interesting to hear shortly from Wonky, because he is looking at traps from the other point of view as a strong K44 or K45. So Wonky, you had I'm sure you have something quick to add before we wrap things up.
Sure. What are we talking traps and T1s?
Yeah, we are mainly traps and low coin free to play, how to build keeps and how to do it right. Yeah, that's the main topic of today.
So the really simple stuff is, if you look at a trap composition, you want to have thin layers and lots of T1s. Sure, you can build T2s and T3s, but it's the same concept. But your thin layers, you don't want to have a general that buffs them, because they're thin, they're just going to die. It's not going to give you any benefit. As Honoz was saying, the flat refines are what gives you the working defense. But what you can do is you can use debuff generals on the wall, because the thing, there's a free-to-play or a low-coining player, the thing you're going to struggle with is getting good debuffs. It's really tough unless you coin a lot. So my advice to our sort of smaller players is use debuff generals when you start. Once you start building out higher tier troops and you've got buffs to be able to support them, then sure, use a more sort of attack buff focused general, but you use just try and get debuffs from any source you can that help your defense. Because the only thing you can do when you've got flats as your main thing is debuff. It just makes them hurt you less. That's really what it's all about. Other than that, clearing a T1 trap, from my perspective, is more about kill the layers than kill the T1s. If it's small, I can do it in one hit. If it's large, I'll try and do it in two. So I would say if somebody hits you, run away.
So,
and if you take one that doesn't do much damage, then you will find the second one will destroy you.
It's a good point. It's a good point, because I also see in traps using debuff wall generals. So that's something to think about. And I know before you got on stage, Wonky, we briefly touched on the anti T1 trap march, the solo, which I said it doesn't exist if you have a properly built T1 and you heal fillers. What do you want to say about that?
Well, I had a bit of fun last BOC. And almost cleared 1.3 bill T1s in 2 hits. So the first one was like a 60 mil clearing the layers hit. and the second one was a cav hit that cleared like 950 mil T1. So I would say the cav clearing hit does exist. You can do, as you get bigger, it's all about march size. As the march size gets bigger as the attacker, you are more able to one-shot clear stuff. So sort of 300-400 mil T1s is generally a one tap. Over that, I'll do a small hit to clear layers and then a second hit to clean T1s.
Yeah,
So the key thing is to keep, though, if you're defending against that, first thing you need to do, if you think you're going to get hit, is get ready to run. So don't have the troops out. Don't have marches and temples. As soon as somebody rocks up and you think, oh, this looks like a problem, get ready to run. And if you get hit once, just as soon as you see that red line, if it's something like a K44 or K45, even K40 sort of 2+, sometimes they can do a pretty good job. So I would be pretty careful about running away. So you want to pick your battles as a low coiner. You don't want to pick a fight with somebody way out of your weight class because it's not going to work. So pick your battles and just get ready to run away very fast because there's nothing wrong with running away.
And Wonky, I think that's an important thing because the only way a K44 or 45 can clear a T1 trap is first to get rid of the fill layers, and if you port away before the second march can hit, then probably you're good if you're rightly built.
Yeah, and you just want to heal those layers up super quick. Don't forget about them.
Yeah, sure. Anything more you want to add at the end, Wonky? And thank you. And Honoz, anything more you want to add, or do we have any more questions from the audience? Because the event is getting on 2 hours and more now. So please go ahead, guys.
Yeah, we speak a lot.
We waffle, but I think hopefully there's something useful in these 2 hours.
Yeah. For me, it's nothing else. Like, if Wonky want to add anything.
I don't know what we've talked about really. So
but I think
but
I think Wonky, we have just discussed how to move along from K30 to K35 to K40 as a low coiner and trap keep. That's been the main discussions for this event.
The last thing that I want to say is for free to play players, do not bother by T15s until you're K42.
At least
do this.
Yeah,
K42 first. K42 first, and then worry about T15s. Other than that, everything goes to the in-city buffs. Depends on your decision after K38, if you're going to move and help your alliance and rallies or whatever, or stay at T1 or do whatever the decision you would take. Do not touch the T15 buildings. This is the last thing that I'm gonna say.
And guys, there was one last interesting question that actually came up in the chat I saw now, and that's been heavily discussed before because there's a question here related to how can you reinforce a trap keep? I mean, then we are talking about a trap keep that can actually take rallies. So. I let you ask. I let you talk, Wonky and Honoz. I just wanted to add my sense to it first because I think it will depend if you can expect what you get hit from, because if there is a K39 trap and you get rains from low buffed players that is putting T14 or high tier T13s into the keep, it's going to just be 3 points for a K44 hitting that trap. So I think the safest thing you can do if you don't know what's going to hit is to rather use more of fill layers and get as much fill layers into the keep as possible. Then you are safe as possible related to losing points. But Wonky and Honoz, you have surely more experience.
Yeah. For me, for T1s, the most effective reinforcements, but of course, like I'm speaking now from uh, some strong players, like not like weak reinforcements. Weak reinforcements is better to like jump out from the rally. Do not take it. But if you have like K43 reinforcing you, or K44, or 2 or 3, 4 K41s or 42s are reinforcing you, the best troops to reinforce and increase your survivability from rallies, and rallies has limits as well, like 25 million, 30 million rally at most. You can get archers reinforcements, and this is basically the best reinforcements for T1 traps. Mostly you'll find the archers. If this was not a siege hit on you, the archers will kill ground and will kill calves and will make your T1s work. Anything else will be targeted first, because like archers will hit calves, and then archers, and then ground, and then siege.
Yes, and
No, I'm sorry.
never
Siege and arch.
never reinforce a trap keep with siege unless you're a K44 or K45 looking to
No
take
need to do it
points.
then. It's pointless.
Yeah,
Yeah, putting siege in one of those is just not going to help.
like even
Yeah, so
even for siege,
I'm a
like
fan of
hits.
range. Yeah, like
Yeah, even
you,
for siege hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if you see like somebody is like for example, like have some archers, and there is a lot of archers inside that keep the T1 trap, and you see like the enemies like trying to siege him first to get rid of the T1s. I'm sorry, get rid of the the archers reinforcements first before they actually cav him, or whatever they do next rally on him. You can actually, when you see on a T1 trap siege, you can reinforce with calves, not with siege. You can reinforce with calves. This is the most safe way to protect that T1 trap. Otherwise,
I
it's
don't
not going
agree
to
with
work.
that. If I scout it and see cavalry-ins and range-ins, I'll just range it. Just range rally and it's dead. That's the problem.
Yeah, but when you see one cav range, one cav reinforcements in a T1 trap will defend against siege. If more than one cav range, this is yes, yeah, you can actually range it out and then siege it. This is yes, this is like when you are like scouting and you are actually watching what is going on. But I'm talking about like the cases like you are pre-laning with range now. Mostly this will work. So people decided to start to rally that T1 range reinforcement trap with siege to get rid of the range first. The best thing you make is, if you are like the strongest keep in this alliance, pull out your range and put one cows. That's it. You will kill all of the siege alone.
Yes, and guys, I think
trust me, it happens.
I think
many
I think you both.
Let me
I think,
just my
yeah,
view as
Wonky,
somebody who would be
Wonky,
attacking
go
that.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Wonky.
If you put siege in a trap keep, I'll cav it. If you put range in a trap keep, I'll range it. If you put cabs in trap keep, I'll range it really quickly because it's easy points. If you put ground in, we just cav you. So the most sensible thing, like you're saying, is ranged, but don't make it more complicated. Don't try and add siege and stuff. You're just going to end up dying because it makes it weaker overall. Range is good for example reasons.
Yeah, and
Range
Wonky,
works really well because it's very hard to kill.
Yeah, the range archers are the most protected troop in general, right? So, but this is my point when I first said that in a high octane situation in a battlefield where you have no idea what the trap is going to get hit with, you are pre-raining a trap. I think filling that trap up with 5 to 10 players with 10k fill layers, that's going to be probably at most times more effective, because it's going to waste the turns of the incoming enemy rally, and the range is not going to lose that much points, and it will give the defending T1 trap T1 troops more turns to actually kill higher tier incoming layers. I think so. But I mean, it's situation dependent.
The flip side to that is that you're not putting anything in that will help the T1 trap kill the incoming troops if you just put fill layers in. Because the problem with the T1 trap, and this is why it can't take rallies, is it's effectively got one decent attack per turn, which is why it does great in a solo, because it doesn't have many layers to kill. But in a rally, it's completely outclassed because it has one attack per turn, and the rally has however many decent layers of troops you put in it. So it just cannot compete. So you have to put something in the T1 trap to help it kill the incoming troops. Otherwise, it's just dead in the water.
And I think Wonky, this will also
I
obviously
agree.
depend. It will depend on the size, I think, of the incoming rally. Of course, if it's a 20 mil rally or a 70 mil rally. So yeah,
It's the number of people.
Sure.
It's the number of people. You need three or more to rally a keep, unless it's got
Yeah.
a lot of reins, and then you just
Yeah.
scale it up. And the other thing about a T1 trap is if you fill it up with reins and you look like you can't rally it, just ignore it. It's not going to do anything. It hasn't got any troops to attack you with, so just ignore it.
Yeah, if you can send large enough rally, I think that's right, because if you can send 40 mil plus rallies at any T1 trap, you're most likely going to clear it, right?
Yeah, but there's one other point for the free-to-play players to think here. If you want to do this and take rallies, it's expensive to do it in SBS because you have to use sources of life because your T1s will die and you can't fit them all in the hospital. So keep that in mind. The other thing is you need to work on your embassy. And as a free-to-play player, resources are limited. So you need to make sure that your embassy is big enough if you want to take more than a solo, that you can actually fit enough people in to make it work. So just a couple of other little things.
Yeah, sure. And guys, I think we waffled on probably for a bit too long. There was one question here that Anya tagged me on. I'm not sure it's related to T1 trap, but I'll allow it. There was a question here: is if a max specialty Sanada would work for allowing to upgrade to K41? I'm not sure I understand the question. Is it?
You're talking about victory column. You're talking about victory column.
Yeah.
6, I think it is, and yes, it does.
Is that the consensus that we can use purple
I tested it about 2 weeks ago with somebody, and it's doing a full spec purple general is enough to make victory column unlock.
Okay, good. Then we have at least input on it. Guys, I think it's about time to wrap this event up. I want to thank Honoz for your time, for putting all your efforts into making people understand how to correctly build towards a trap at different levels. And Wonky, your perspective as a bigger player, often hitting T1 traps. It's nice to see how you look at it. And I want to thank everybody in the audience asking questions. And unless there is any more hands raised right now, I think we are ending the event, unless there is any more questions. Do you have any more to add, Honoz and Wonky, or should we say goodbye and good evening?
Yeah, I've said what I can say.
It's good, Honoz. You've been talking for 2 hours almost, so you need a beer. Wonky, you good?
Yeah, I'm great, thank you. Sorry, I only rocked up at the last minute.
Well, it's nice having you here because it's a different perspective. We always need that because, as we all know, there is no 100% answers in Ebony on how to do things. So it's always good to have different inputs. So, guys, thanks again. Thanks to Anya and her team on C5 always for hosting all of these excellent events. Hopefully, it's helpful for players and. Please, those who are not your friends that are not in C5, get them into C5 because there's a great library there with a lot of good information, and you can always ask questions in the channels to get answers. So, with that said, everyone have an excellent Sunday evening, at least for us in Europe. and for those in US, it's a bit earlier, and for those in Asia, it's probably very late. So, yeah. So, guys, thank you all. Have a good evening, and we'll see you next time.
Cool. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Yeah, thank you.